Hey everyone, before we start the video, I just want to say a massive thank you to those that turned up on Friday. We had our first members stream and it was an absolute blast. We went through Call of Duty Zombies, multiplayer, played some Fall Guys. It was a lot of fun. So hopefully on the next members night, I'll see more of you there. Right, on to the video. So it seems the plot thickens when it comes to the mighty PS5 Pro's graphical settings, and it looks like the PS5, well, the PlayStation community, except for D-Badge, is slowly taking a step back and now changing their tune, downplaying what they said, and are now kind of wondering if all of that second coming of Christ prayers that they were doing is indeed correct. Now, let's not beat around the bush when it comes to playing PlayStation 5 games. Outside of the fact that if they're released on PC, PC is the best place to play them, the Pro is going to be the best place to play your PS5 games. So if you are a PS5 enthusiast and you want the best possible graphical fidelity and performance for your PS5, it's going to be the Pro. But that's not what this video or this discussion is all about. No. What we're talking about is the actual stats that are coming out, and the fact that we now have some leaked info on the PS5's true capabilities, and it seems that the diehards out there that were claiming 33 and still to this day are gonna die on that hill claiming 33, and who knows, maybe Sony by the time the PS6 comes out will do another trailer and show RDNA 3 or something, but won't say anything now and won't say anything for the foreseeable future. After all, Digital Foundry and everyone else said that the PS5 has an RDNA 1.5 as its missing RDNA 2 features. And it was only after, 4 years in a release trailer for the PS5 Pro that you saw it flash up with RDNA 2. But even then, it's actually missing features, so it can't really be called RDNA 2 even if it does. So you can't really take Sony's word as gospel for this, because as they lied in the video, they are probably going to lie now, or had it or coat it in a way where they're telling you the truth, but not the whole truth, but allowed to kind of hide enough of the truth because they're not going gung-ho with the full details. Of course, the usual suspects are going to believe every word that comes out of their mouth. That is just the way of the stables, or the truly converted stables. You know who I'm talking about, and at the end of the day, they are who they are. And even if they turn around and say, I still love my Xbox and all this, you know the truth. That's all blandering. I play PlayStation, I play Xbox, I play my PC, I play my Switch. You don't hear me singing hallelujah to Switch now, do you? Obviously, I prefer Xbox and I prefer my Xbox gaming. I do play on PC when Xbox doesn't offer 60 FPS. I've never hidden this from anyone. That has been something that I've said for a long time. So take that as you will. But we're going to now get into the details of the crux, because this all is getting rather interesting. So it goes, wait, what happened to 36 teraflops? Lol. This is my post up. And now this has been shared everywhere. This is of course Spanish. Mechanism Grafico, which basically means graphics mechanism. They write it backwards. But we're looking at this information here because this is quite important. Now, we've already known that the processor in the PS5 Pro is going to stay the same. It's still a Zen 2 processor, which to me was the biggest problem with the Pro. It's not going to make those advancements that you need. If a game is CPU, bottlenecked, no matter how much power you throw at it or upscaling you throw at it, it's still going to be bottlenecked. It's still going to struggle. But maybe they did it this way because clearly they have to get it working on the PS5 anyway, and so the PS5 will always be the limiting factor. But it's the GPU here that is the big kicker. See, a lot of people were saying that this was 33 teraflops. I mean, I remember a time when people were saying that this was 300 teraflops, 600 teraflops, a 1490. Some even claimed it was more powerful than a 5090. Okay, that part was a joke. But would you blame me for thinking that someone actually said that? There at least has to be one idiot out there that did say that. But then there was people saying that this is as powerful as a 4070. And again, they're ludicrously deluded. like complete flip-flop deluded. Now, this isn't to say that whatever RDNA this is, because clearly Sony didn't want to label it, can't use features from RDNA 3 or 4. Just like Sony's RDNA 1.5 or 1 was using features from RDNA 2, but not all the features. Why isn't it possible now that this is an RDNA 2 and just using the ray tracing features, which by and large are worse than the lowest spec PC graphics card for ray tracing enabled stuff? So this now has gone from a 4070, not even a 4060, we're looking at a 6800 now. An AMD 6800, which is what I've said all along, based on the information that I had seen and the info that I had read. I've always said that this was basically a 6800. And it looks like that is becoming a thing. But the usual suspects out there will still obviously continue to defend this. Everything else here makes sense. Everything else here, adds up to what they were saying. It's still going to use the NVMe M2 hard drives. Nothing here is any different. You've got 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM and 2 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM. Bit odd, but I guess this is just going to handle some stuff. Now, this essentially is 4 teraflops higher than what the Series X is. And the Series X was, I believe, about 3 teraflops above what the PS5 was. And at the time, they were saying teraflops doesn't matter. To me, the extra teraflops is pretty much going to be utilized by the PSSR AI upscaler because it kind of needs it. It's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. And, and where's the RDNA 3 or 4? It's not even RDNA 2. I was looking for the same thing. I actually do believe that this is probably full-on RDNA 2 now. But at the end of the day, this can't support features that the other version can't. I mean, I guess the ray tracing part will probably be okay, but in terms of core features, that would be like developing the game on 2 separate machines. The thing that they said that they wouldn't do. The things that Ponies argued would actually be bad for the console. Having 2 versions, Series S and X. If they are moving technology forward in a way that's going to enable, features or abilities that this cannot do, then you're going to have a problem. I guess they don't need to be on parity, but you're still developing for 2 different platforms at that point. And that is something, again, that they said they would never do. But here we are. Now you've got Riskit over here saying PS5 Pro is a 16 teraflops for $700 eye-watering dollars. And obviously that's without tax. With tax it's about $780. Then you need the drive, bringing it up to like almost $900. It's crazy. Of course, then you've got D-Batch over here. I mean, he wouldn't miss a beat. RDNA 3 does dual instructions per cycle, 16 times 2. I don't see RDNA 3 anywhere here written at all. I don't see it. And even when they said the PS5 native, the original PS5 was RDNA 2, Digital Foundry already proved that it's missing so many features, it's more like an RDNA 1.5, and everyone kind of accepted that. And it wasn't until the actual showcase that they actually showed that it was RDNA thing. You're wrong, assuming that there's no APU GPU to complete the operation. Check the retweet, and we're going to get to his retweet because it does go in. Teraflops aren't a good measurement of power, says Cole Eastwood, and now AI will be doing the heavy lifting for resolution and frame rate. It never was, says Riskit, but half the quoted expectation coupled with the CPU, and you're asking PSSR or PSSR, depending on how you want to go about it, to do a lot of the heavy lifting. That said, why even release a Pro? Which is what I said, you're asking a lot. Now we come to the actual quoted tweet. A couple of things here, D. This from someone who I asked who knows actually does this stuff for a living. Obviously, D-Batch is going to say he doesn't know what he's talking about because D-Batch is the only person on this planet, even above Mark Cerny, that knows what's going on in the PS5 Pro, but we don't get into that. And the only reason I'm kind of giving him a hard time is because he has decided that this is his... I mean, it's almost like God descended from the heavens and said that this is your purpose in life. Your purpose and goal in life is to protect and safeguard the PS5 Pro. You need to be there as the bastion of everyone. that's behind the PlayStation brand and protect this like your life depends on it. Because, come on, I can't be the only one that's seeing this. But anyway, I think he's a great guy, by the way. Totally great guy. Never had a direct interaction with him in terms of vocal, but from the interactions I've had with him on X in the past, he's a totally nice guy. So, it's all a bit of fun and games. You don't know the version of RDNA it's running. No one does, right? Because Sony won't tell you. If it's running RDNA 4, why wouldn't you shout it from the rooftops? Remember how they were saying with Wukong, if Sony got the overall the exclusivity rights, they'd be shouting it from the rooftops because that's the Sony way. So why aren't they doing it here? Because it's not. It's inferior. They've not put a number to it yet. And maybe they will do, who knows. But as of right now, they have not. But with the dual FP32, send instruction to the GPU and CPU twice as fast. And let's not forget, right? The PS5 Pro, the PS5, I believe is like an 8 or 9 teraflop. I think it's like an 8 teraflop, right? What if this is 8 times 2, taking it to 32? Taking it to 16, sorry. What if this is like they're actually, assuming it is an RDNA 3, it is still an 8 teraflop, but now it's got the dual channels, because that's what it does. It sends data twice through 2 channels to kind of make that double performance, right? The double data read and write. Well, what if it's actually running at 8 teraflops? 8 point something, because it's a 33.5 or 33.4. So it would be coming like 8.7, I guess. So 8.7 teraflops times 2 would make your 16, right? I know, right? Yeah, see where this is going. Anyway. Send instructions to the GPU speed twice as fast. That isn't the endpoint for that transaction. The result still needs to pass through this GPU CPU to complete. This still depends upon how well the APU utilizes its bus. This is correct. It does reduce operational load, but not by half. Again, correct. It does lighten the load, and it does allow things. Just like how the Auto SR for Microsoft that they're now going to enable within Xboxes as well, which will improve the graphical performance by quite a bit, is going to help the load on the CPU and APU. It's essentially the same thing. It's not AI learning, but it is something that Microsoft is incorporating not only into the Xbox consoles, but into Windows as well. So it's going to be something that will benefit everyone. That is to say that it will be more efficient and reduce resource usage, but to equate that to 32 teraflops is wrong. There's a lot at play before the OP reaches the screen. If you had a business and hired one extra supervisor to issue instructions to the workers, the instructions would come twice as fast. That doesn't mean the work gets done twice as fast. You are getting a raw power boost and a res upscale, so there's all-round improvements. No one said that the PS5 Pro will not improve what the PS5 is doing. Everyone, I think, can agree that it will. We've already seen this with games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth running at 60 frames per second on the quality setting that the PS5 would use. So you're clearly getting a boost here. So there is still value there to be had, even though I still think it's overpriced. You are still getting that 60 FPS at the quality prefix that the PS5 would have, so you're no longer restrained to that of the PS5's 30 FPS. That said, this also explains why we're getting the 1080p's and the below 1080p's, even on the PS5 Pro. And that's kind of shocking. And I know people are saying that machine learning will upscale it, but you're upscaling a 1080p or a 840p screen to 4K. There's only so much machine learning is going to do for that. It'll be the strongest console on the market, but 32 teraflop machine, it is not. And no one's disagreed that it's going to be. And here is the kicker, right? This is supposed to last them for another 6 years, till 2030. When Microsoft's machine comes along in 26, I suspect that Sony is going to reconsider that 10-year plan and push it to 28. I can't imagine them releasing the PS6 a year or so after the PS5 Pro comes out. That just seems a bit ludicrous, and really, actually, I can now see it actually happening. But that will give them that 2-year advantage that Microsoft needs in order to push games graphically forward. This is starting to look like the whole PS3 and the 360 era all over again, and this could be the kind of jumpstart that Microsoft really needs. And I guess they've probably seen this coming, which is why they're preparing for that 26 launch. And if they can do it right, and if they don't fumble the launch and fumble the console's power and keep the price range within, user-friendly pricing, then we could actually see potentially a shift in what is going to come. But that's another tale for another day. Now, people are saying that they do have a number. Obviously, they don't, because all Mark Cerny said is that they have features from, stuff that come from RDNA 4. They didn't say it is RDNA 4. They have features. So, like I said at the start of the video, this is more like an RDNA 2 with RDNA 4 features. No, they have not put a number on it at all. It's assumed. Of course, if I'm wrong, you can find something official to prove it. And obviously, there is nothing. No matter what he says, it says 16 on the spec sheet, and even with egg on his face, he's still imaging his mouth. I mean, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. You've got the spec sheet now. It says 16. Now we come to Puerto Rock here. Asel says 16 teraflop RDNA 1, same architecture than base PS5. Now we know why Sony was so shy to share the spec. It's just a boosted PS5. And he says, yes, it's a boosted PS5. Was it supposed to be anything else? Nintendo God says, Lord, now you're trying to backtrack. Backtrack what? Are you saying it's not? That is not what these people were saying. Chaos says, you all were acting like this was the second coming of Christ. And they were. They absolutely were. There's nothing there that was... And all of them were. Nibs, Puerta, they were all cheering for this. And, for good measure. They believed in the hype. And at the end of the day, regardless of how you look at it, it is still going to play games better than the base PS5. So if you're a PS5 enthusiast, you should pick it up. You'll see the benefit. But it's crazy to see how much how much the backtracking has happened. From a 4090, which I'll be fair to Puerto Rock, he actually laughed at the person saying it on his stream and told him to shut the F up. He was not having it, not even giving him a minute to talk, because it was so dumb to even suggest that the PS5 Pro was on a 4090 level that Puerto Rock just had to shut him down instantly. So I'll give him credit where credit is due. At least, he may want to troll and believe in the hype, but at the end of the day, there's a limit to the BS that even he can take. But you had others out there on that same train, influencers, that were saying that this is a 4070, a 4080, a 4090. And they're going to be in for a rude awakening when it's not. Because it's not. This is more of a 6800. And of course, Sony's answer to FPS Boost is this feature here, enhanced image quality for PS4 games. So it's not actually improving your frame rate like Xbox does with the FPS Boost. It provides you with that from 30 FPS to 60 or to 120. That's not what this is providing. They're looking to make the graphics a bit better, and that's it. And I think that's the wrong approach from Sony, but at the end of the day, this requires the least amount of effort. And so they're going to go with this way. The minimum viable product is always the Sony way. And I guess that's where we're at with this. Well, folks, that's it. What can I say? This is pretty amusing, to say the least. I didn't expect the spec sheets to come out in this way to shut down so many people. And, well, they can argue till they're black and blue at the end of the day. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is, the spec sheets don't lie. And this is why Sony was withholding the spec sheets, because they were letting their community run with a lie and spread misinformation, and hoping that that misinformation would then in turn get them to sell more PS5 Pros. The reality is, the PS5 Pro will sell more upgrades from consumers than new people buying it. So I don't think Sony was ever looking at this at anything more than just a way to pad their numbers for their consoles, which has been declining month over month. You can use whatever excuse you want. We've already seen Xbox is declining, so you can't throw that at me. But at the end of the day, considering how Lord Almighty that people say the PS5 is, and the sales numbers are declining month after month, this was Sony's, I guess, way to try and pad those up and turn it into a positive again. Time will tell if it actually does work out. But this video has gone on for long enough, so thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. Let's have that discussion, and I will see you in the next one. As always, remain legendary.